Hello and welcome to another Lamp Bible Study. My name is James, your host and Bible reader for Lamp Bible Study. And again, it's going to be another fantastic Lamp Bible Study. I've been so excited. Can't wait to get to today's Lamp Bible Study. And we are going to be starting in a new book. We're going to be starting in the book of Job. And so I'm currently reading from an NIV Collegian Bible. How today has been for me, it's been not as anticipated. We plan things, we may even plan things, write things down, and things don't go as we want them to do, which is interesting when it comes to the topic because of where we're getting ready to read in Job. So very, very interesting. A lot is going to be in here. So I'm not quite sure how fast we're going to go through it. We're going to try to go at the normal pace, but I'm not sure because there's quite a bit in the book of Job. Have you ever had questions? Have you ever wanted to know if you could question the Lord? Have you ever wanted to know why things happen? Have you ever wanted to know the reason for bad things to happen, potentially bad things to happen, and the reason for those, and what to expect and what to understand and what we have. And so, again, welcome. If this is your first time to Lamp Bible Study, thank you very much for joining us. I hope and pray that we continue to seek the Lord's wisdom through His holy word together. And I hope everything's going well with you. And if not, welcome to another Lamp Bible Study. Always excited. So every Tuesday and Thursdays, these Lamp Bible Studies do come out. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with today's Lamp Bible Study and the book of Job. And of course, it's going to be at the very beginning, so chapter 1. Prologue. In the land of Uz, there lived a man whose name was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. His sons used to take turns holding feast in their homes, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. When a period of feasting had run its course, Job would send and have them purified. Early in the morning, he would sacrifice a burnt offering for each of them, thinking, "Perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." This was Job's regular custom. So I believe that Job is actually, if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me in the comments if you know otherwise, or if you learned otherwise, I believe Job. So the Bible and the timeline goes back and forth, and it jumps from here to there. It's in some ways it's in order, but in other ways, including the book of Job, it's not so much. In this case, I believe the book of Job is actually prior to, if I'm not mistaken, it could be even placed before Joseph goes to Egypt. I'm not quite sure exactly when. So that's a question for you. When this time of Job is, I believe it's pretty further back. If I'm not mistaken. But this is a time that is going to be about Job. And so listen to us as we go through here and understand what it's describing. So during this time, Job is considered very, very well off. He has a lot of animals. He has sons and daughters. He's considered very well off. Listen to what it says. He was blameless. He was thinking of others besides himself. He was thinking of his children by worshiping the Lord and sacrificing a guilt offering unto the Lord. So think about those things as we go along. And there's a reason for everything. So pay attention to the details. This is one of those books. This is literally one of the books that you want to pay attention to every single detail. It's all very important. And so here you have a man who pretty much has it all, and his life's going to come to an unexpected twist. And so how do we prepare for that? What do we see? What do we look for? If there's something to look for, who do we rely on? Things like that come to mind. And bringing past to present, are we at a comfort point in our lives where we are in a point where things are going good? And so when things are going good, we want to bless the Lord. When things may go bad, we still want to bless the Lord. And we're going to learn, and we're going to see in the book of Job what all that entails and what that means. So what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Job's first test. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. So think about this, what it says. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. So this is a time where we'll get more into that, because remember, the Lord had originally cast the devil out of heaven. He didn't, but as we can see, the devil has come back, but there'll be a time where he's permanently cast. So let's continue to read. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Again, the Alpha and the Omega. God is the Alpha and the Omega, beginning and the end. He knows. So this is more of like a rhetorical question. It's more of a question that he already knows. And God sets outside of time. And so he also says things for us, because for our somewhat of our comprehension. Because I'm a firm believer that the Bible, the Word, the Holy Word, it tells us things that we can comprehend, and then it goes beyond our comprehension as well. And so there's a lot here. Satan answered the Lord, "From roaming through the earth and going back and forth in it." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil." "Does Job fear God for nothing?" Satan replied. "Have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? You have blessed the work of his hands, so that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." And so that tells us right here, reveals to us that this is another thing that I feel that it's a humanistic thing, it's a people thing, it's something that we do. We give because of whether it be scary movies, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Hollywood or anything. Whether it's our own thoughts, we get this impression that the devil is powerful and has these abilities, and that he can look at past and present. Incorrect. As we can see, the devil didn't even know how Job would react, how Job will react in this whole book. And that goes to show us, because something was brought up recently in a discussion, how oh, the devil must know who he wants as to play roles such as even the Antichrist or the beast and such. And again, it's not like I don't see it that way. I see the devil has always, from the beginning, when he was thrown originally out of heaven, and tried to go against the Lord because he wanted to be worshipped as well. The devil has always tried to see what schemes by plotting and planning would work. We know nothing will, and he knows that too. But there's only time, right? And he doesn't know when that time is coming to an end. So there's a lot here. And by knowing more and more information, by knowing that what we're going to even see here, how the devil speaks to the Lord, our God, that we as humans, we start giving things a little too much power, a little too much authority. We put things of a higher expectation, give it more than what it actually is. Some of that comes from fear, both fear of not understanding and fear of what we've never seen before, what we may not see. And so, and that fear can lie in other things too. But this goes to show us who actually is in control, who runs everything. And so let's bring past to present. Let's think about this in a way of we as humans, we like to control things, especially around the holidays, right? Or some type of get together or some type of fun time where it's a birthday or some type of festival or something. We like to be in control of what we want to happen, how we want things. We like that. And when that happens, when we are able to, through blessings, maintain some type of control that we feel that we have, and things go well and they turn out well, we're happy. But sometimes things don't turn out well and we don't understand why. Again, we're getting ready to read a whole book geared towards these questions. And who we need to remember, who actually has the control and who actually has the ability to provide us. As you can hear right here, the devil is telling the Lord, you have blessed Job. You have protected him. Exactly. All blessings, all good things come from above. They come from the Lord. The Lord can bless and protect us. The Lord can bless and protect you. The Lord can bless and protect me. Think about those things. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. The Lord said to Satan, very well. Then everything he has in your hand everything he has is in your hands. But on the man himself, do not lay a finger. So he's literally giving the devil permission, Satan's permission, to cause mischief, to do something to Job, except not to lay a finger on him. Then Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. One day when Job's sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house, a messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby, and the Sabaeans attacked and carried them off. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, the fire of God fell from the sky and burned up the sheep and the servants, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you. Take note. While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, the Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties and swept down on your camels and carried them off. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, yet another messenger came and said, "Your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house, when suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck the four corners of the house. It collapsed on them, and they are dead. And I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." At this, Job got up and tore his robe and shaved his head. Then he fell to the ground in worship and said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. So here's Job, probably in good spirits, just in a state of calmness, state of fully being just being okay. Everything's running great. Everything's doing good. Job feels like he has a strong walk with the Lord. And then one by one, everything's going good, and then here it goes, one by one, messengers come, and his servants were killed, his flocks were destroyed or taken away, and now even his children. And how the messenger says it, it's like, oh, the Lord has done this to you. When we know that it was the devil. The devil wanted to do it to him to see what kind of reaction he could get, to see because the devil doesn't know your heart. He doesn't know my heart. He doesn't know us. He doesn't know. We're made in the Lord's image. We're creation just like him, but we're made in the Lord's image. So he may have some issues with that too, right? And so think about that. And when all this happened, Job was upset. He tore his robe, and then he went straight to worship. He understood that the Lord provideth and the Lord taketh away. And he also says, may the name of the Lord be praised. Because we can't be in control of everything, and circumstances and things can happen. Things can happen that are out of our control. I know, right? How do you like that? Think about it. Have you taken a plane? Have you rode on a plane ride before? Have you rode a bus? Have you been where someone else was in control? Someone else was in control, basically, of you in your life. A wrong turn, going too fast, going too slow, not catching the wind correctly, derailing a train, whatever it may be. Think about those things. And how does it make you feel when you were in those type of situations? Did you have to learn over time to relax, to understand and let go of the control? Do you pray? Do you give those opportunities or those times where you're not in control to the Lord? Pray for those that they may have guidance. Pray for those that they may understand and have wisdom from above. Think about those things. I know a lot of times we just hop on the plane, we just hop on the bus, we just hop in the car. But there's a lot to it. And unexpected things can happen. It happens in life. Unexpected things can happen in our lives too. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think? Before we continue, I do want to say and remind, as I have been in the previous Bible studies, I'm going to say it again. So when I say, how does it make you feel and what does it make you think? We do have feelings. We all have our humanistic side, our humanistic feelings and our thoughts and our emotions. What we want to do is we want to set those aside for a moment. While we're reading, we want to be with the Lord. We want to be with the Holy Spirit. We want to hear his message. We want to see if we can hear it and read it and understand it and see if he's giving us, if he's speaking through us, because it's going to hit each and every one of us. It may hit us similarly and it may hit us differently depending on what point you are in your life and what walk you have, or if you have one, or if you're going to start one. Listen to those things. Listen to those knocks, because the Lord may be at your door. He may be calling, and I'll leave it up to you. Exactly, right? That's exactly what the Lord says. So think about those things. So we allow for the Holy Spirit to come in. We allow to listen. And then we try to understand. We try to acknowledge and accept. Humble ourselves. Understand that our thoughts and feelings may not be accurate. They're not complete, full of wisdom without the Lord's wisdom, right? So think about those things. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think? Okay. I lost my place, but let's continue to read. I didn't lose it, actually. I forgot. Okay. Job's second test. On another day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them to present himself before him. And the Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" I just sometimes think, like, reading this, I just feel like, because Satan's an accuser. Like, he tempts us, right? And then he goes straight to the Lord and said, look what he did. Look what he did. No matter who you are, even believers, he's like, look, this person sinned. But we have a Redeemer, and that's in our Lord Jesus. And so, try as the devil may, cannot take us out the hand of the Lord through he cannot take us from our salvation. And when I read this, I see the Lord saying, where do you come from? He knows the answer. He knows everything. He knows even how everything's going to end. For him, for the devil. But again, with the time thing, and that reminds me, I'm going to go over something else sometime, possibly in this Bible study. I'm not quite sure about the heavens. I talked about those, and there was something that was brought up to me through comments, and so I'll go over that at a later time, because I do understand that where they were getting at. But as we can see, though, Lord's just sitting there and he's like, where do you come from? Here we go. He may not be like that, but because he's holy, and it's just, he's saying, where do you come from? He could be saying it that way, or he could be saying it strongly, he could be saying, where do you come from? How do you see it? How do you interpret it? What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil, and he still maintains his integrity, though you enticed me against him to ruin him without any reason. Skin for skin, Satan replied. A man will give all he has for his own life. But stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face. The Lord said to Satan, very well, then he is in your hands, but you must spare his life. Okay, point number 2. So, humanistic, we give the devil more props, more power, more than he everything he does or wants to do, he has to go through the Lord. Period. Period. And so he's telling him, because he doesn't know. The devil doesn't know, but he's okay with seeing a person in misery. We're going to see that what the Lord's going to do with this, and how he upholds righteousness, how he upholds his holiness in this. So here's the devil going after, because that's what he likes to do. And he's telling the Lord, test him again, test him again, test him again. Those of us, those who have a walk or going to start a walk with the Lord, it's not easy. If someone told you that walking with the Lord, believing in the Lord Jesus is going to just make your life completely easy, there's a possibility that things can smooth out. What you do know, though, is the truth. And that truth gives you that completeness, that gives you that hope, that gives you that love. So we may be seeking economy or items here on earth, or things that we think that may fill us or may give us what we want or in need. But once we accept the Lord, then we know. And that's wisdom. That's understanding. And so the devil doesn't like that. So the devil wants to test. Wants to tempt. Wants us to make the wrong decision over and over again. And so who we can lean on, lean in, is the Lord. Think about that. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel? And what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. Then Job took a piece of broken pottery and scraped himself with it as he sat among the ashes. Ouch. Who's had chicken pox? Do you remember how it was really itchy, but you couldn't really scratch with things because you were contagious? I'm just trying to bring past the present. I'm just trying to bring us, and it didn't make you didn't feel well either. Not only did you itch, but you didn't feel well either. Some people didn't get the whole thing, they just had the sores. The itchy sores. Some people, they had the itchy sores and the sickness that comes with it. Just think about what Job was feeling and going through. How would you react? Think about that. And here's the Lord saying, sure, Saint, go ahead. Why? Because the Lord knows. The Lord knows our heart. The Lord knows us. The Lord knows how we are, what we'll do, who we trust in. Think about that. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel? What does it make you think? Let's continue to read. His wife said to him, "Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die." He replied, "You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" In all this, Job did not sin in what he said. Take note here. This is big. This is a lot. I mean, the whole Bible's big and a lot. This is also... I'm going to read this part again because this hits it. And think about this. Think about, because this is affecting his wife too. Even though, yes, this is the book of Job, right? However, his wife, those are her children. Those are all, she shares in the good time, the wealth and all of it. Think about that. It's affecting her. It may be affecting her just as much as it's affecting him. And so listen to this. Is, it may be out of pain. It may be out of, she's just speaking. She's just speaking because she just doesn't know what else to do. And Job tells her, don't speak foolishly. Don't speak foolishly. Because the Lord is just. The Lord is just. Sometimes things will be allowed to affect us. Sometimes harm will come. Sometimes bad times will happen. But there's a reason. There's a reason for your life. There's a reason for my life. There's a reason we all are here. There's a reason. We all have a journey. We all have a walk. So I'm going to read this again. His wife said to him, "Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die." He replied, "You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" In all this, Job did not sin in what he said. So once again, we give Job credit. He didn't sin. Once again, he was leaning in. He was knowing who he can depend on. He was understanding that there may be a reason. He may not know what the reason is, but there's a purpose. And he knows that the Lord, it could be for the Lord's glory. Think about that. Again, before we go on, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel? What does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Job's 3 friends. When Job's 3 friends, Eliphaz and Temanite, Bildad the Shunammite, and Zophar the Naamathite, heard about all the troubles that had come upon him, they set out from their homes and met together by agreement to go and sympathize with him and comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. They began to weep aloud, and they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. Then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. No one said a word to him, because they saw how great his suffering was. So it's a time, it gives us a lot here. Do you have a friend that, or do you know someone that's going through a tough time? Right here it shows us it's okay to go and empathize and comfort that person. It's okay to pray with them. It's something that each of us, brothers and sisters in Christ, can do. And that's what we may do. That may be what we are led to do as well. The Lord may press upon our heart to go and comfort and help someone. Be empathetic. Love them. So here his friends come and they see just how devastated Job was. They didn't know his condition of his spiritual walk with the Lord, but they could see that he was devastated. They had loss. And if they couldn't see that, maybe they could see for themselves how they would feel if they had lost what Job had lost, or went through what he had just went through. And so it doesn't give us much insight right now into how his friends are, but it will. So again, bringing past to present, being able to empathize and comfort someone, a loved one, a friend, even an acquaintance, being there, being a representative of the Lord's love, allowing the Lord to work through us and show that he cares, because he does care. And sometimes he does it through people. Think about that. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Job speaks. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. He said, "May the day of my birth perish, and the night it was said, a boy is born. That day may it turn to darkness. May God above not care about it. May no light shine upon it. May darkness and deep shadow claim it once more. May a cloud settle over it. May blackness overwhelm its light. That night may thick darkness seize it. May it not be included among the days of the year, nor be entered in any of the months. May that night be barren. May no shout of joy be heard in it. May those who curse days curse that day. Those who are ready to rouse Leviathan. May its morning stars become dark. May it wait for daylight in vain, and not see the first rays of dawn. For it did not shut the doors of the room on me to hide trouble from my eyes." So, as we can see, yes, Job is very devastated. So much so that he is cursing, he is saying, wow, woe the day that I was born. That shows you just how devastated he was. It gives us a clear picture how hurt he was. Gives us a clear picture of how he felt. That he would even curse the day that he was born. Let's continue to read. Why did I not perish at birth and die as I came from the womb? Oh, did I read that? See the first rays, for it did not shed. Okay, I'm going to go back and read because I didn't. May its morning stars become dark. May it wait for daylight in vain and not see the first rays of dawn. For it did not shut the doors of the womb on me to hide trouble from my eyes. Why did I not perish at birth and die as I came from the womb? Why were there knees to receive me and breasts that I might be nursed? For now I would be lying down in peace. I would be asleep and at rest with kings and counselors of the earth, who built for themselves places now lying in ruins, with rulers who had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Or why was I not hidden in the ground like a stillborn child, like an infant who never saw the light of day? The wicked cease from turmoil, and there the weary are at rest. Captives also enjoy their ease. They no longer hear the slave drivers shout. The small and the great are there, and the slave is freed from his master. Why is light given to those in misery, and life to the bitter of soul, to those who long for death that does not come, who search for it more than for hidden treasure, who are filled with gladness and rejoice when they reach the grave? So, again, Job continues here. And there's some points that I'm going to hit on coming back to this. So let's continue to read. Why is life given to a man whose way is hidden, whom God has hedged in? For sighing comes to me instead of food. My groans pour out like water. What I feared has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened to me. I have no peace, no quietness. I have no rest, but only turmoil. So, he's cursing the day that he was born because he's saying, had I not been born, I wouldn't have had to go through this. I wouldn't have went through this. So he's saying that he would have rather not gone through life if he was able to not have to go through this portion of his life. It says a lot. It says a lot just how hurt and afflicted he feels and the pain that he has. And so he also knows that we'll see what he thinks about the situation in total. Besides his life, he shouldn't even been born, so he didn't have to go through this. He's going to understand, though, that there's a reason. Now, take note of some of the things that he says, because you're going to want to remember some of these things all the way to Revelation. Which is, I find very interesting, because this is the Old Testament, this is Job, and Job speaking about how he feels and such, but some of this is going to be reflected in what's going to happen even in Revelation. There'll be a time where those that have decided against worshiping the Lord, and this is going to come up later on, we're going to go over this, will be as some of what he's saying, as wanting to be yearning for death, to those who long for death that does not come, who search for it more than for hidden treasures, who are filled with gladness and rejoice when they reach the grave. So there's going to be a portion even then, in the future, where people are going to want to die, but they can't. So I thought that was interesting. Bringing past to present, though, we see that he's in pain. We see his turmoil. We see people go through pains such as this, and they can also go into a thing called depression, where they feel complete gloom. Now, that is definitely something of today. Some do take medications for it. Remember, all good things come from above. Sometimes medications can help. Therapies can help. Also, reliance on the Lord can help. Just going to throw that out there. And so, but like I mentioned, there's the different therapies, there's sometimes medications, and even if you do end up taking medication or doing other therapies and such, don't forget that there is a Lord that loves you. And if you can help someone, and if you could speak about it, especially if they are asking, allow for the Lord, pray with them, pray for guidance, pray for wisdom, pray for the Lord to speak through you, so that the words can be understood and accepted, and it can help. It can help comfort. It can help bring back that love. Give them the reason. Give them the understanding that there is a reason. They may have troubling times, but it's for a very short time. That's another thing that we have to understand. The devil's on a time limit. Sin is on a time limit. Evil is on a time limit. Bad things are on a time limit. Time limit. They're on a time limit. You may put something into the oven, and you may know what time that is, and you take it out with perfect timing. Thus ends that time. Well, so is all of the bad things, all the negative things, all the hurts and the pain. It's on the time limit. And there's a reason that we may not see, we might not understand, but we do have someone that will comfort us in all times. That is the Lord. So think about those things, bringing past to present. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Okay, let's continue to read. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, want to take note and such, leave it in the comment section. Want to add something? Add some thoughts. Put in the comment section. Okay, let's continue to read. Eliphaz. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, so this is one of his friends, right? If someone ventures a word with you, will you be impatient? But who can keep from speaking? Think how you have instructed many, how you have strengthened feeble hands. Your words have supported those who stumbled. You have strengthened faltering knees, but now troubles come to you, and you are discouraged. It strikes you, and you are dismayed. Should not your piety be your confidence, and your blameless ways your hope? Consider now, who, being innocent, has ever perished? Where were the upright ever destroyed? As I have observed, those who plow evil and those who sow trouble reap it. At the breath of God they are destroyed. At the blast of his anger they perish. The lions may roar and growl, yet the teeth of the great lions are broken. The lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. A word was secretly brought to me. My ears caught a whisper of it amid disquieting dreams in the night, when deep sleep falls on men. Fear and trembling seized me and made all my bones shake. A spirit glided past my face, and the hair on my body stood on end. It stopped. But I could not tell what it was. A form stood before my eyes, and I heard a hushed voice. Can a mortal be more righteous than God? Can a man be more pure than his maker? If God places no trust in his servants, if he charges his angels with error, how much more those who live in houses of clay, whose foundations are in the dust, who are crushed more readily than a moth. Between dawn and dusk they are broken to pieces. Unnoticed, they perish forever. Are not the cords of their tent pulled up so that they die without wisdom? So here we have his first friend, or one of his friends, first one speaking. And he's saying, somewhat of what he's saying right now is that, look, all these bad things have happened. These bad things typically happen to people who have done something wrong. He's starting to question Job. He's starting to put more of a rhetorical question almost in a way, but also asking it at the same time. Letting him know that typically these bad things happen to those who, sin and don't follow, and don't follow the rules and commandments. So and so again, I'm not quite sure exactly when Job was. It's pretty early on. I want to say it was right. I want to say it may have been before even Moses, but I'm not quite sure. Because believe Enoch was, but it's a good question. Good question. To read some more and check. And if you haven't, if you know, put them in the comments. But there's a lot here. And so he's slowly telling Job that the Lord, he's just, he's gonna punish those who don't do right. Who don't do right and follow the Lord. So, reading over this, and that's another thing. I learned this more recently. we may be in a situation where we're communicating, we're having a conversation, and then we may know, you can take it as you know something about someone, or some situation is happening and you want to say something. You want to say something, you know the answer, or you know how to answer it, or you have something to say and you're going to say it, and here's your time of the conversation, or here's your time to stand and say something, or start speaking. And then you want to make sure you give it to the Lord, because it could be a miss. You could start speaking and forget your thoughts. You could, what I'm trying to say is, make sure and understand that it's in the Lord's timing. So give it to the Lord, because when we just do things and we force things, it doesn't come out right. It may not come out right. And so, take a moment, concentrate, give it to the Lord. Maybe even say a quick prayer in your mind, whatever it may be. Put your focus back, gain your focus back from the Lord, and then speak. Let it come out. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Call if you... Oh, this is still his friend. So, call if you will, but who will answer you? To which of the holy ones will you turn? I love how I say this. Resentment... It's like, to which of the holy ones will you turn? There's only one, but he's saying this. Resentment, he's saying it kind of like, who else are you going to turn to? Resentment kills a fool, and envy slays the simple. I myself have seen a fool taking root, but suddenly his house was cursed. His children are far from safety, crushed in court without a defender. The hungry consume his harvest, taking it even from among thorns, and the thirsty pant after his wealth. For hardship does not spring from the soil, nor does trouble sprout from the ground. Yet man is born to trouble, as surely as sparks fly upward. I mean, a lot of things what these friends are going to be saying, it's in the Bible for a reason. It's truthful. It may not be exactly correct for Job or correct for the situation, but a lot of it is speaking the truth. We're sinful. So what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? Answers in here. Let's continue to read. But if it were, I would appeal to God. I would lay my cause before him. He performs wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted. He bestows rain on the earth. He sends water upon the countryside. The lowly he sets on high, and those who mourn are lifted to safety. He thwarts the plans of the crafty so that their hands achieve no success. He catches the wise in their craftiness, and the schemes of the wily are swept away. Darkness comes upon them in the daytime. At noon they grope as in the night. He saves the needy from the sword in their mouth. He saves them from the clutches of the powerful. Another quick pause. My goodness, there's a lot here. He saves. The Lord saves. The Lord saves. Take note. He saves the needy from the sword in their mouth. Things that we say, bring them past to present. That's what I'm saying. Take a moment. You may want to control the words coming out of your mouth. You may have something to say, but it may not be right, or they may not come out correctly, or they may not be heard correctly. So, therefore, you want to take that moment, even if it's quickly, because I know you get in a conversation and you get in that moment, you're like, I have to say something. Make sure you have full peace about it. Give it to the Lord, because the Lord will provide. It'll come out clear, crystal clear, and understood. He talks about like I just said, the mouth, he talks about how the Lord provides the rain. The Lord is the one that has the control. The Lord is the one that can bless and heal. And so think about those things in our life, past to present. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. So the poor have hope, and injustice shuts its mouth. Blessed is the man whom God corrects. So do not despise the discipline of the Almighty. Another point for us. Blessed is the man whom God corrects. Remember, we are his children. We are the creation. We are his children. And he can correct us. Blessed is the man whom God corrects. So do not despise the discipline of the Almighty. Parents, you do the same thing. We do the same thing, right? We discipline our children. It's not out of spite. It's not out of hate. It's out of love. It's out of wanting our child, wanting that person to grow in wisdom and understanding why we did something and what the reason was. Why there's discipline and what the reason was, and grow from it and learn and grow and to correct, to be better. Think about those things. We still do that today. And the Lord is our creator. So the Lord, even much more so than we can think about. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Okay. For he wounds, but he also binds up. He injures, but his hands also heal. From 6 calamities he will rescue you. In 7, no harm will befall you. In famine he will ransom you from death, and in battle from the stroke of the sword. You will be protected from the lash of the tongue, and need not fear when destruction comes. So I think this is an interesting part, because he's talking about in famine he will ransom you from death. Reminds me of Joseph, right? Because the Jacob's sons, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Who became Israel was living in the land, and then his son ended up getting sold down to Egypt, Joseph, and then they end up eventually having to go to Egypt because of the famine. I mean, it just all ties in everywhere. It's amazing. Let's continue to read. And in battle from the stroke of the sword. You will be protected from the lash of the tongue, and need not fear when destruction comes. You will laugh at destruction and famine, and need not fear the beasts of the earth. For you will have a covenant with the stones of the field, and the wild animals will be at peace with you. You will know that your tent is secure. You will take stock of your property and find nothing missing. You will know that your children will be many, and your descendants like the grass of the earth. You will come to the grave in full vigor, like sheaves gathered in season. We have examined this, and it is true. So hear it and apply it to yourself. So we have Job's first friend telling him possibly even information that he heard from Job himself, and telling him, these things do happen. They typically happen to people who sin. So go to the Lord. Go to the Lord with it. Go to the Lord with your complaints. Go to the Lord with what's going on, because the Lord's full of mercy and blessings. So think about this, past to present, like I mentioned before. Difficult times and difficult situations are on a time limit. And when those do arrive, to lean into the Lord. There's a lot here. There's more to come. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? let's do a quick review. Okay, so we started in Job today, and chapter 1 with the prologue and how where the setting is in the land of Uz, and about a man named Job who was wealthy. And then Job had a first test, because why not? The devil, he doesn't know. He wants for us to choose and do things wrongly. He wants us to not worship the Lord. He wants us to not obey the Lord's commands. And so Job's tested. And his first test is a big one, right? He loses all of his stuff and his children. Actually, that was part of the second one. First one, he loses all of his stuff, right? And he and his children. Okay. And then the second one, so he's upset, but he doesn't curse the Lord. He just says, "May the name of the Lord be praised." Think about that. We may hold our own thoughts and feelings when bad things happen, and we're like, "Why did the Lord do this to me?" Hold up. Hold that thought. Hold on. Hold that thought. First, check ourselves. Have we done anything to potentially cause any of this? Okay, if you can go with that, then we also need to think, okay, we're in this situation, but the Lord, our Lord and Savior, can pull us out of this situation. So think about those things. We'll take a moment. Job's second test, again, he has his skin, he gets diseased. And yet, he still does not curse the Lord. He holds on and understands that the Lord is just, and he still worships. Then Job's 3 friends come. And the first one, Job speaks, tells them basically that he wished he had never been born, because why not? I mean, he's going through this suffering, right? But here he is. That's how much pain he is. But he's still here. He's still here. He's not trying to kill himself. He's devastated. He's in mourning. And he's still here. He doesn't understand it. Then one of his first friends speaks, Eliphaz. And Eliphaz is stating, hey, we see it. I'm seeing it. But typically things happen like this to people who are doing wrong. Are you doing wrong? Because if you are, you know the answer. He's throwing things that he may have heard from Job back into his face. Like, you know who to turn to. You know who to go to. The one that provides rain on the earth. The one who, you've been a representative by helping, what do you say? Helping, strengthening faltering knees, supporting those who stumble. Your words have supported these people, and here you are, devastated. Use your words. Use your walk. So, again, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Thank you once again for joining me in another Lamb Bible study. I hope and pray that we continue to seek the Lord's wisdom together through his holy word. Please continue to pray for me. I will always continue to pray for you. Lamb Bible study comes out every Tuesday and Thursdays with highlights throughout the week and flashlights on Fridays. And we're continuing through the book of Job. There's a lot here. It's very deep, right? There's a lot here, a lot of substance. All the books are full of substance and full of wisdom. And Job is one of those that gives us light to and answers to. We're not the only ones. We're not the only ones that go through it. We're not the only ones that have questions either. So with that, I hope you have a blessed morning, a blessed day, a blessed afternoon, a blessed evening, a blessed night. God bless.